What's going on, guys? We're not waiting for opportunity, we create an opportunity. We're not waiting for opportunity, we create an opportunity, right? That's the way we living out here, right? That's the way we're gonna get more. So today, I wanna talk to you about how to create the lifestyle you want, how to afford the lifestyle you want. Can you afford the lifestyle you're actually living now, right? So, Self Day is here to remind you to create more self days, right? So you can rejuvenate, so you can think, so you can process, so you can empower yourself, right? On a self day. That's what we use it for, right? In order to give ourselves some times for us, for the me, right? But in order for you to do that, you have to be able to afford it. When you take time off of work, you take time off and you make sure you have the sick time or the PTO time off, right? That you can afford the time off, that you can have vacation time, right? So you don't miss any bills or anything like that, right? Any expenses, that you can afford to take that time off to yourself or to do what you want to do, vacate, whatever it is, right? An extra day, extra weekend day, a 3-day weekend, however you do it. But you have to afford that time to have that self day, right? So you have to be able to afford a self day. So that's a lifestyle a lot of us are trying to get into, where we can have more days to ourselves and not keep on trading more time for more money, right? For more funds, for more freedom, right? But we want more freedom, but it costs. So there's something called a current asset ratio test. A lot of business use this, right? And why I always go to the analogy of business is because right now there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. You know, a lot of people are trying to make extra income. A lot of people are trying to have that freedom to be their own boss. So I use a lot of things and methods that big organizations use or companies use in order to evaluate their company and to grow value to their company. So I don't want you to become a company, but I want you to gain value and become valuable. So I use a lot of parables and parallel lines of how we're living and how companies organize themselves. And I show the relation so we can make ourselves more valuable, because then we can create more wealth, more health, and generational wealth and health as well, right? So the current asset ratio test is basically taking your current asset and your current liability, right, to get a ratio to see how much you can afford your current liabilities. If you have enough in your current asset to afford your current liabilities. So I would just tell you simply now, just look at what you're bringing in monthly and what you pay for monthly, and be realistic, be truthful to yourself. How much you bring in as income and how much you spend. I mean, gas, light bill, rent, you know, going out for the weekend because you know you go out, or if you have drinks with your buddies or whatever it may be, or if you're going out to hit the club or you hitting a venue, you know what I'm saying? Be truthful to yourself of what you spend. Haircut, salon, nails, eyes, all of that. Be truthful to yourself, right? And see if you can actually afford those things. So what you're going to be doing is taking the current assets you have, your current income, and you're going to divide it by your current liabilities, whatever you're paying for the month that you feel is a necessity for you to pay, right? Every month. And you're going to see what the number comes out to that. Now, if it's a 1, that means you are right there living check to check. Your check or whatever income is coming in is paying for that exactly. So you have nothing left over after that month. Not a good thing, right? Because then we're living check to check, which we're not trying to do. If it's 2, 3, 4 that it equals to, that means if you're 2, you're double. So you can afford that plus that again. So you're getting better. So the higher the number, the more you can afford that liability that you have, right? Which is more security for yourself and more freedom for yourself, right? Okay, so just doing that simple test that companies do to see if they can afford their current liabilities with their current asset. And that's how a lot of financial lenders decide how much they're willing to lend you, of how much you have on hand now that you can afford with your liability. If you have nothing on hand now that's left over, how are you going to pay back the lender? You see what I'm saying? So that comes with the whole debt to income ratio, right? When you're looking at trying to get lending and stuff like that for a home, for a car, or whatever the case is, or whatever you're taking it out for when they're running your credit. How's your debt to income ratio is looking at, right? So we got to take a look at that, because if you're 1 or 0.0 something or whatever the case is, that's a problem. You're overspending monthly, and you're not going to get to have these self days and to have that lifestyle you truly want, because you're living check to check. You're pulling bare minimums. That means you may have to start taking out loans, payday advances, and get stuck in that cycle, right? Where you can't get out. You're just creating more bad liability, because liability is not a bad thing. It's just good and bad liability, because liability can create assets. You have businesses all the time and people who take out big loans for purchases of buildings, inventory, and things of that nature, that they have to pay that loan back, but they're going to be making a profit off of it, off of that building, right? Or off of that inventory when they're selling it. So it pays for itself. It's transferable to a customer if you have inventory, right? You're transferring all those expenses and interest rates to that customer, and it's still making a profit. So not all liability is bad, but in this situation, day to day, if you're drinking too much, or you going out to eat a lot, or you always doing your hair and nails constantly, and that's coming in your way of causing you to have enough assets to cover your liabilities, you're not going to get out that hole. You have to get rid of some of these things, some of these day-to-day tasks that's taken away from you, because then you're never going to be able to have extra to start investing, to start putting away in a peer-to-peer lending or something like that, to grow bigger interest back, you know what I mean? To generate more interest for you as a gain instead of as an expense, as you can see in my other videos that we talked about before. You understand? Because the only way for you to start living a self-day and having more time for yourself and having more control over your life is for you to make some little sacrifices now, month to month, that'll become year to year, where you can get more income and use a little bit of extra income, or develop more and more, where you can go ahead and invest in some other things for your long haul, for your long-term assets. As we talked about before, how current asset and long-term assets become short-term and long-term goals, right? So you have to take that opportunity and take that time to look at, it's real quick shot of it. Just look at your current assets, what your income is. Look what your liabilities are. Be truthful to yourself about your liabilities now. I'm talking about if you like to go out to eat and you know that. Do a minimum of it, whatever. If you know you do your nails twice a week, ladies, like, let's be real about it. You know what I mean? If you know you got to get your hair cut, dudes, or whatever the case is, let's be real about it. Like when I used to have dreads, I used to have to twist my sucker up. I got lucky that my wife and my mother-in-law, they did that. So I was good. You know what I mean? But if I had to go out to do that, it would cost a bit more, right? Let's be realistic. If we like to shop and get hats or clothes or let's be realistic about our lifestyle. If we like to go out and hit, say a sports bar on a Saturday and you like watching all of the games, the college games, football games, be real with yourself. If you know you're going to hit a spot with your brethrens over the weekend, be real with yourself. You know what I mean? Be really real with yourself about what you feel your lifestyle needs to be and how much that's going to cost you and how much you bringing in. Because then also, if you realize you're not having enough and you don't want to get rid of these stuff, then you can pinpoint and say, man, I need to pull in some extra income somewhere, somehow, and use that extra income to reinvest to make me more. So you can be making money in your sleep, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make money in our sleep while we just knocked out. You know what I mean? And wake up to our accounts having more than it did last night or last week or last month. Where we can start venturing to live a self-day life, where we can do for us and put us first, put our time first, put our day first. Because the worst thing about it when you wake up in the morning is when you got to hit an alarm clock or a snooze button twice to get up, take a shower, brush your teeth, put your clothes on, spread your bed, rush to make some food to eat. If you have kids, get the kids together and ready and stuff like that, get their stuff in order, make sure they're good, they're tired, right? Now you're rushing in to try to beat traffic, to beat a line, to get inside on time, to clock in. How do you control your day that way? So you start off with a crummy day. It sucks, even if you love what you're doing, but when you have to be so reliant on that only as income, forever, for a 30, 40-year period, that becomes a problem. You understand? And I guarantee you, if you do create some other way to stream of income, it won't be that stressful to you because you'll have a choice. And then also your work would be better because you're not going there feeling like I have to do this or I'm not going to be able to support myself this month. But you'll walk in there like, I like doing this, so that's why I'm here, and I have the freedom and choice. You know, yes, you have a choice to choose that job to be there or not, yes. But when you feel the constraints of the bills, of your responsibilities, then that causes a problem. Because I've talked to people who are like, man, I think as an entrepreneur, it's harder for me than a person who's working a 9 to 5. And I say it depends on that person's responsibilities and what that person has. You know what I mean? Yes, you have a great deal of responsibility, but you have also a great deal of freedom. And that person may not. That person has a great deal of freedom on the other end of that. They don't have to look for clients and keep that going. So it's just a give and take. It just depends on what your responsibilities are. And you have to create yourself to be able to take care of your responsibilities freely. You know? Because I'm telling you, even your work would change. How you feel at work, it would feel totally different. You'd feel different when you speak to the supervisor. You'd feel different when you speak to your coworkers because you have that mental freedom already. That this is not my only access to income in order for me to live my life day to day. I don't have to do this. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at it, man. Look at your current asset ratio test, right? What your income is, what your true liability is. So you take your current assets, your income for that month, whatever you generate income for that month, divide it by your current liabilities for that month, see what the number is. If it's 1, you're living check to check. If it's lower than that, you need to cut some things off, right? I think you need to cut some things off if it's 1 to 1, if you're living check to check. You know, get that phone bill down, figure some ways out to get it down, and then still use that extra money to reinvest into something else. Because there's many things out there you can reinvest in, right? And you just need to take an opportunity for that and do that, man. And then if it's above that, you're doing better. And now you need to really figure out, if I'm above that and I'm making more than my liabilities, what am I doing with my money that I'm not seeing it and it's not generating money for me? Something's wrong there. I got to get that together because I can use that money for a year, doubling it up and just make money for me in the long term where I can see income coming back again, creating passive income, right? So if you want to create more self days, if you want to create a lifestyle that you really want to live, go ahead and do that test and see where you are. Because budgeting is a big thing in life and a lot of us don't do it. You know, we talk about it in our brains, but to put it down on paper and see it and then be able to budget and get yourself right, you know, you can create a self-day lifestyle every day. It's just up to you. And you'll have more freedom in your mind, less stress, less worries. You know, I'm not telling you that the responsibilities will stop. I'm telling you your response to the responsibilities will differ because of the freedom that you have and the options that you've created. Because we're not waiting for opportunity, we're creating opportunity. See? And then we become a walking entity of great value, one of the biggest corporations out there. And then our children, friends, and things around us become a partnership to that. You understand? So you have to take a look at your lifestyle and be realistic for how you're living and how you can curb that and how you can change that in order to create something more for yourself. So this is what we're talking about today. Talking about how to create value, right? Talking about how to create more self days, right? Because you have to be able to afford a self day, to take a self day. If you can't afford it, you can't take it, right? So let's figure out how we can create these lifestyles, afford these self days, and let's do that current asset ratio test. So again, we're not waiting for opportunity, we create an opportunity. We're not waiting for opportunity, we create an opportunity. Come on, man. Self day every day.